Conscious means that you're conscious of what's going on in this world. You're fully aware and awake to what's going on in the world. That's what conscious rap means. So if you got conscious rap, that means you got unconscious rap. That means you got motherfuckers that's unconscious rapping. That means they sleeping. They still under the spell of Leviathan. They still under the spell of kingdom.
Call me brother man, I'm not the rubber man. Though I keep my Nazis in affairs wrapped with some rubber bands. Running out the Ku Klux Klan and with the Grand Dairy King misters. Just butts of guns I'm giving. Trying to make more sovereign citizens. These minions help kill your prophet, stole your treasury millions. You heard it from your brother man. Now the smother sell out. Cess links and K2 Kush days keep me red out. I got the knowledge to make these silly hoes question the pimping directors of music videos. Gaylords and persons with strap-on boots with heels. Too much graphic art faces. Boobs are not real. Since MCM and Troop, they use Timberland boots to get us all caught up in fashion, not the simple men roots. Got our people on dogmatic, not metaphysic. Exoteric, not esoteric is how you missed it. So out of it, you couldn't feel the natural mystic blowing through the air like it didn't give a shit. I hear the dirty Moors dissing, cause I said profanities. A lot of these grand sheets need to take off the panties. Pull the thong out your crack vest, wear him sash ass nigga. Return to where the prophet found the Negro, what's that nigga?
It's time to choose a side. You either positive or you negative. You either evil or you good. You understand what I'm saying? Choose a side, nigga. I know what side I'm on.
I throw a Molotov at the priest that works for the beast. All they want is our people to rest in peace. No attention of allowing more stress to ease. Cracker won't go home to spread himself the disease. Genocidal epidemic kill us in high proportions. Instead of mummified, we stay boxed in coffins. Mayors attend funerals for PR purposes. Where's the police escort? He replied with nervousness. He said, I don't have those numbers or connections to have Metro Police lead your friend's funeral procession. That's coming from Mr. Mayor, black community player. No question in the hoods dropping out boxes of weapons. Then blame black on black crime or natural causes. Plus those doctors are not on point but off a bit. Natural mystics prove they're not holistic. Hypocrite oaths make your children autistic.
I'm at the point now where I'm saying I'm tired of mixing the medicine with the food. I'm tired of playing that game. Now I'm shoving straight medicine down your fucking throat, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Straight doses of medicine and getting shoved down your throat. I don't give a fuck if it turns you off or not. Because if it do turn you off, then you're a stupid, ignorant motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Don't judge like a cover of your favorite book. Visit you in your dream can with the hook. Paralysis overtook. So shook, stop, look, listen with precision. MC on the mission, vision, past senses and endless. Cipher with active Moors, beat you with facts senseless. Have your mind defenseless when the truth enters. I glow, reminds me of Omar Bay, Algonquin embers. Tap your pineal out, what's a man remembers. All the lies told to your mind dismembers. Circle broken into quadrants, either 7 in the center. Compass G between the square, Baphomet of Templars. Warlock, call on my witch mothers to maim them. The same wise spirits burned at stakes in Salem. Torture with vagina pair, survive, bobbing for apples. Contort thumb slide, wrist out, tight shackles.
I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always got something deep to say, every time around. I always got something deep to say, every time around.
Moorish World TV, huh? More like Asian World TV, you dig? You heard? Tired of all these agent provocateurs slamming the right. I call y'all out. We call y'all out. Y'all out there. I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. Better watch them boy fight themselves out, lurk in them corners. The best believe they coming with the agent. Yeah. Better watch them boy fight themselves out, lurk in them corners. The best believe they coming with that Folly taking you under. Moorish World TV, huh? More like Asian World TV, you dig? You heard? Tired of all these agent provocateurs slamming the right. I call y'all out. We call all y'all out. Y'all out there. I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. You better watch them boy fight themselves out, lurk in them corners. Best believe they coming with that Folly taking you under. I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. You better watch them boy fight themselves out, lurk in them corners. Best believe they coming with that Folly taking you under. It's a shame, man. You dirty Moors, man. Trying to equate legalese the law, man. How incompetent as you can be. But it ain't no stopping the movement, cause all I got the front seat. Better get your mind right. Real Moors about to highlight. Real Moors about to hype. Y'all just looking for the limelight. If you were really studying, you would know who is who and recognize this is Moors. They really think you got this is government. Grab y'all niggas for please. Can you believe it? Please. Yeah, I know this for sure. I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. You better watch them boy fight themselves out, lurk in them corners. Best believe they coming with that Folly taking you under. I smell an agent. We smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. You better watch them boy fight themselves out, lurk in them corners. Best believe they coming with that Folly taking you under.
It's a shame, man. These dirty Moors, man. Watching all you dirties through the hairs that's crossed, man. Noble Jew, Ali, and Garvey met with Burner Cross, man. We solved the Negro problem with the Circle 7 Koran.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster? Gangster?
Black power my ass, y'all just playing the ass, posing, frontin', no bustin', no dirty cock gun button. At least Moore's right, rich, trying to do something. Pen as my weapon, feathers up and turbans, no bluffing. Don't get it twisted, sort of more get handcuffing. Judges dismiss cases, prosecutors cussing, telling my guys recuse themselves or get sued. Civil right leaders like conscious blacks marching on news, stopping traffic, or people that didn't kill their sons and daughters. In Canaanland, we call y'all bright and out of order. Nationality has me awake like a sleep disorder. While most wear blinders, my peripherals broader. For the record, I sweat nervous part reporters in Admiralty maritime shores. Moors walk on water. Engines return with other kills, no sight blurred while they stay killing their minds and saying they learn.
Why you don't pull up on the passenger side of the police car and bust on the police instead of your brother? I've never heard of it. You say you're a gangster.
Enough of that. Islam Moors, Tuesday. You already know how it goes on Tuesday. I already know how it goes. You should know by now. It's been years. Tuesday. Since Ustream. Since Ustream days. Commercials and stuff. So we're here again with another Hulk smash, as always. Because people love playing games. They love playing games so much. So because they love playing games, you just want to put this one on the record. Islam to the ones that study and send me stuff.
A globalist is a person that wants the globe to do well, frankly, not caring about our country so much. And you know what? We can't have that. You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist. And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay? I'm a nationalist.
Now, don't forget. This is the same president of the United States that these people are part and partial to. You know the Moorish Science Temple people that tell you about their part and partial? Okay, they're part and partial of a nationalist. That's what he's pushing. If they're saying citizen of U.S.A on the nationality card and stuff like that, so we're part of this de facto regime. All right, if you're partial to the de facto regime, CEO of the de facto regime just came and told you, people who are partial to him, that he's down with nationalists. Those guys president, those guys who got their stuff, got their stand at the podium with the whoever and all that, or the guys who got to sit in the Oval Office and stuff, all their boy. Nationalists. Now, you know, of course, because Kanye is crazy, right? And he knows about Moors and all that stuff, that you think Donald Trump doesn't know? What's up? Do you understand he's trying to give you your stuff back? Do you want your stuff? Or are you going to keep playing club and religious BS and colorable BS and everything else that has no significance to existence as a divine being? Toupee guy told you guys nationalists, not naturalists and all that stuff. And we already know, because he's a foreigner, he can't be a nationalist here. So who is he talking to?
Right.
You think he doesn't know he's a foreigner here? You think he doesn't know that that's not, when Noble Drew Ali said, of the said government? That's not what he's talking about when Noble Drew Ali said that. When Noble Drew Ali said, Moors is a free national ballot and go to the polls and vote. You ever talk about some U.S. corporation that you see right now, whose CEO is putting it back right on you? Hey, you're not nationalist. I'm a nationalist. All he had to do was the Hitler salute, and then people would have went nuts. But because he didn't do the Hitler salute, you're still pretending like he's not letting you know.
Gracie, quick question.
Yo, go ahead, Mark.
Now, how are we supposed to look at that too? Because at the same time, you know, you never heard a president or so-called president even talk like that, say anything about nationalism. Never.
National what?
So, and another thing is, how we supposed to look at it? Why y'all bringing it up now? Why is he mentioning it now? It just seems like, you know, we don't look at coincidences.
Convenient timing.
It is what it is.
Yeah, convenient timing.
Moors bring up proclaiming your nationality. That's a Moorish thing that just started coming around. You know, and then all of a sudden he's talking about it. Why didn't Clinton talk about it? Bush, presidents going back, way back. Right? And then another thing too, quick question, how we supposed to look at it. Remember, Hitler was a nationalist too. Well, Hitler was the man with the Noble Drew Ali mustache.
Right.
So you can look at, that's what he just did, just saying that right there had my mind racing. I didn't hear that. That's the first time I heard that.
Yo, this is just fresh off the press today. Like I said, it's love to the Moors who study or whatever.
Right. Right.
They say, hey, you see that thing about the Trump, whatever? What are you talking about? Yeah, man, Trump said some stuff or whatever.
Yep.
But, you know, of course, you're not gonna hear anybody else talk about it.
Nope. Listen more, listening to his prophet.
You know,
he told you, listen to the news.
Watch the news.
Yep.
Listen to the radio. European, Donald Trump is gonna tell you the truth. You think that's not truth that he's telling you? You really think he's lying right now under the CEO stuff, under the Illuminati, and he's part of the whatever? Or you're gonna just still think, forget what he says?
That got me thinking. Did he say it? Was he giving a clue to his people? Because they got to proclaim their nationality too.
Yeah, okay, it could be to them too. You know, those that know. Those that know.
He's telling them, well, if you following me, I'm a nationalist. So if you want to follow me, you got to have a nationality. I'm just looking at it. It's the first time I heard it, so I don't know how to dissect that right there. That was huge.
Yeah. Declared himself a nationalist. Some on Twitter noted links between nationalism and fascism. Right, so right in line with what you're saying. These idiots looking at one world order like some European thing. When it's a European thing, using your foundation that you abandoned because you want to be Negroes and you want to sing hymns to Noble Drew Ali, and you don't want to go on the hedges and the highways. You want people to go to the virtual temple because your ass doesn't want to get off the couch or whatever and go do something. You're billing stuff and nobody ever seen nothing that anybody's billing around here. I just talk about they bill stuff. Like I said, I wrote a book and I could show you the book that I put out a CD. I could show you a CD. Saying something basic. So we just wanted to put that one out there so we could get down with the beat down. Right, so people like to use, like we say, when you go on YouTube, for you YouTube people who like to go use YouTube instead of go read a book or whatever, always make sure you check the thumbs down because that's why it's there. So you can check to make sure, you know, what you're watching is going to be beneficial to you. So it has a 40. We know about Canaanland Moors, you know, we know about Moorish nationals, but you know, this thing about the jig is up it sounds real familiar. It sounds real familiar, like Game Over from 4 months ago. Now, if Game was over 4 months ago, how's the jig up? No. If the game was supposed to be over 4 months ago, so which obviously means that game wasn't over 4 months ago, and obviously the jig's not going to be up after we're done today. Because all these more sellouts out here who have left you, abandoned, and have you complaining about some European or whatever, when it's always been your own. They love doing it to you. They so love doing it to their own people. If game was over 4 months ago, How's the jig up? So we already got the lady with the red flag. She's waving already because something's wrong here. And something's definitely wrong. It might be mental, or it might be someone having an agenda from some other people who are too punk to show their face. So they send some other people to talk BS. Because majority of these people that are saying representing for some Moorish whatever, they only care about their little club. They're not repping for a nation. Like, do you know we have direct one-on-one contact with parents who have issues with their children and stuff like that as Moors? Because they just see how we are, and they're like, well, my son has an issue with whatever. You talk to him, or do you know that they're giving us red light that we could take off our belt and bust their ass? They're saying, you do it. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you have to do to get the message to him. We have direct one-on-one contact. This is boots to the ground when we talk about nationality and birthrights. This is not virtual because you're watching it on YouTube. This is not, it's very serious out here. And it's either you're down with the solution or you're part of the problem. And we're seeing that these Moors, these people who are supposed to know better, are part of the problem. Right? Now, before we even go there, because people always like talk about, why you always talk about dirty Moors or whatever. Okay, fine. Put out some information then, since freaking you want information. Don't ask me how to get anything. Right? Because, we're Moors. We're supposed to be studying. We're supposed to be supporting the individuals who we know are who we consider the ones that, so you support. And then when you support, stuff happens. Ancient Lemurian Honor Society founder, Grand Priest Hannibal D. Bay, presents the Holy Cannabis, the sacred book of the Moors, the modern term for Lemurians, the god race. Because info is not the problem. Dirty Moors are a problem. But if you got info, you just want to do whatever, okay, fine. We'll go off course. That's why we started early, so we could have time. Surah 34. Follow not after another, but lead that others might follow you. That's what Canaanland Moors were a living manifestation of that, because we talk to Moors all over the world. So FOH to anybody talking BS. We talk to Moors all over the world. And we push on them. Don't be talking about no following anything. FOH what you're following. How about you too be a leader, and let me see some Moors around you that you're putting them on. But they're not following you though. You don't know, grand whatever, you're the father of Moors. Yeah. Surah 43. If a man lacks wisdom, best he should keep still than lead someone the wrong way. So all these people right here, all these people.
Read that one more time, Grand Sheik. Read that one more time.
If a man lacks wisdom, best he should keep still than lead someone the wrong way.
It's mine.
Surah 45. If a man says he knows such and such, but has not done such and such, he should keep still, lest he becomes a fool. These are the same people right here. Right? And this is not some, oh, I've been had this in the vault and all that stuff. Just got this a little while ago, so don't get crazy. But this is the type of energy that it is. That one's here. With righteousness, righteousness will follow you. And that's all we've been with. Doing for our people. Doing for our nation. Doing for these children out here. Trust, like we said, there's no need to be doing classes or whatever, because people should be studying. So there's no need for class, really. Because you should be studying. But we realize that, you know, it's hard for Moors to connect. So let's have a central time where we can put our energies together in a direction. Once we have that type of vibratory force, you don't know what you're doing in the ethers. Stuff will you just get things. Things will just work in your favor because you're vibrating on the correct frequency for yourself. Not for anybody else, anybody you love or anybody you care about or your grand whoever or whoever put you onto this info or for yourself. Because this is really about know thyself, not know other people or whatever. Know thyself. And all this is lessons for you to know thyself. Looking at examples of others in their demon place and use them as a reference point, never to go there, never to let yourself sink to these levels that people are displaying under the guise of their Moors and they're out here for the nation when all they are about is repping their little club. They think because they got some big picture of Noble Drew Ali that Noble Drew Ali honors them. Because you got the biggest picture than everybody else is of Noble Drew Ali. Oh yeah, he's going to give you more honors than everybody else. Fools. If thou hast something to say, then say it. But if it is foolish talk, say it not. Surah 76. The way to total enlightenment is through good works, good thoughts. Seek no other way, for you will not find it. Total enlightenment. Surah 82. Action is the key to unlock all rituals. So Noble Drew Ali told Moors, all Moors are active, not passive. Then passive people, passive Moors, rituals don't work. That's why game's never going to be over and jig's never going to be up. Because this is beyond new Moors coming in with their eyes wide open and all that. This is beyond that. Light years from that BS. You're still looking at waiting for some Moors to come. Moors been here, doing exactly what it is that Noble Drew Ali laid down for them. Doing exactly. Able to reap the benefits even. And people still looking at it like, nah, because those Moors over there, those aren't the Moors that are the example. The dirty Moors, the Moors who have flags backwards, the Moors who pose with their seats and their buildings and their connections to whoever, but only they're getting something from it. The people are out here still not getting anything. Like I'm saying, we have one-to-one contact with parents who they're going through issues with their children. Not going to some European get counseling from them. They're conscious. They know better than that. Why not go to the village idiot who has the funny hat? Everybody laughs at the funny hat. Why not go to him? Because they got a building and stuff like that. Like I see him going to this building all the time. Look at all these other people and they're doing nothing. These brothers and sisters at least helping me with my offspring. So I could go figure some other stuff out right now because it's crazy out here. This is why the man said uplifting fallen humanity since 1900s. Uplifting fallen humanity. Holy covenant. Your brother, your sister, all that. And then what? Those same people that he told that killed him. Now they're running everything. You talk about love instead of hate somebody. These are the same people right here trying to tell you that you're partial to some U.S. corpse under the guise of the Moorish banners that Noble Drew Ali was flying. Under the institutions that Noble Drew Ali set up. These people went that far. And ultimately to have you think that we didn't have this thing locked down? How come these Moorish Science Temple don't tell you about this? Indianapolis Homegrown Islam, the Moorish Science Temple of America, Paul Mullins. In 1943, the Moorish Voice, a movement newspaper, lauded the accomplishment of chapter member Sister H. Johnson Bay, who recently finished a 6-week course in the machine shop at Crispus Attucks High School. According to the report, Johnson Bay found it a very interesting course and a metal roller which she made to specific measurements for one of the machines of the Moorish broom factory, shows facilities in this line of work. Moorish what? Moorish broom factory? Where's the Moorish broom factory? For all the Moorish Science Temple people and all that stuff who were supposed to have kept things going. Because we already know in the 20s, they had fisheries and they had community centers in the 20s. Though the temple never attracted the number of congregants that African American churches did, its activities appealed to African Americans throughout the state of Indiana. There were even followers of the movement in the little town of Hope, as we know from the reporting of the Evening Republican in nearby Columbus. On February 4th, 1938, the newspaper ran a front-page story about Mrs. M. Clift Bay, the Indianapolis temple leader who was now called the Grand Sheikess. Bay had visited the newspaper that very morning, accompanied by Mrs. Dorothy Smith, the daughter of Reuben Frazier, who lived in Hope. Bay wore a large red turban and a fur coat. Mrs. Smith donned a pink turban. The Grand Sheikess explained, the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, according to the Evening Republican, exhibited a copy of the organization's Articles of Incorporation, which explained the purpose of the group to teach the Quran of Muhammad, to teach, preach, and live the religion of Islam, to propagate the faith of Islam, and extend its learning and truth, and also the learning and truth of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. She also showed them a copy of a flyer that called on all African Americans to join the movement. Come all ye Asiatics and learn the truth about your nationality and birthright, it read. In addition, the advertisement encouraged Black people to learn your forefathers' divine and ancient creed that you would learn to love instead of hate. Echoing the teaching of the Ahmadiyya movement and other religious movements, the flyer proclaimed that we honor all the true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. But it was also clear that the particular path toward a strong identity and communal empowerment for African Americans lay with Islam. I self-law master, Islam. Though African Americans in Columbus did not convert en masse to the Moorish Science Temple, the Fraser Bay Farm in Hope played an outsized role in the development of the movement. It became a rural retreat for members of the movement, not only from Indiana, but also from the entire country. Members of the movement would stop for rest and relaxation as they traveled across Indiana, often on their way to Chicago. The farm supplied turkeys to the Moorish National Home for ailing and elderly members in Prince George, Virginia. The Moorish National Home for the ailing and elderly. So they had the broom factory. Nobody knows what happened to that. They had the Moorish National Home. Moorish National Home. Not religious home, not corporation, national. Why? Because nationals are housed there. Not corpses. Ailing and elderly. They're not a corpse yet. There's a lot more.
Elderly Moorish nationals.
elderly Moorish nationals.
Not elderly Moorish Science Temple.
Members.
Not Moorish Virtual Temple. None of that. Moorish Nationals. Elderly Moorish Nationals. Come on, man. I mean, I know we just warming up, Grand Sheik, because he talked a lot.
Yeah, he did. He did. We're looking good still. We're looking good still. Like the Ahmadiyya movement, the appeal of the Moorish Science Temple lessened in the second half of the 20th century, but the Moors continue to have a presence in Indianapolis as they do throughout the country. They remain important as the first national Muslim denomination established and operated by African Americans. If you know that's a fiction.
Right.
And the references are Abdul Hamid Suleiman and the Origins of the Moorish Science Temple by Patrick Bowen, Bowen, Emily Suzanne Clark, Noble Juali's Clean and Pure Nation, the Moorish Science Temple, Identity and Healing, Noble Juali's Clean and Pure Nation, the Moorish Science Temple, Identity and Healing, Emily Suzanne Clark. And Judith Weisenfeld, Judith Weisenfeld, New World, A Coming, Black Religion and Racial Identity during the Great Migration. New World, A Coming, Black Religion and Racial Identity during the Great Migration.
Now that's key too, Grand Sheik, that you gave the references too, because we're not going to sit here for an hour and 17 minutes and read a bunch of stuff that we have no idea where we got it from.
Know where we got it from. You go check and you tell me if what we're saying is some BS compared to some other people. Right, Smithsonian. Muslims were banned from the Americas as early as the 16th century.
In order to be banned, you must have already been here.
Right? Had to be here. Why would they ban you if you weren't already here? And remember, this 16th century, which is around the same time with these people with their talks about they're from somewhere else.
Yeah.
On Christmas Day, oh, go ahead, Mark.
And the Inquisition is really going on still too.
Yeah.
Because once you said like they try to kick us out or no Muslims can be, it's the same thing they did in Spain, same thing they did in Europe. They always going around trying to kick out the Moors. St. Patrick's Day or whatever. You know, everything is to kick the Moors out.
Right. Okay. But check this one. This is how they started up. Long before today's anxiety about terror attacks, Spain and England feared that enslaved Africans would be more susceptible to revolt if they were Muslim.
Look at that. Look at that. Mad. You're going to be mad.
Oh, man. On Christmas Day, 20 enslaved Muslim Africans used machetes to attack their Christian masters on the island of Hispaniola, then governed by the son of Christopher Columbus. The assailants, condemned to the grinding toil of a Caribbean sugar plantation, killed several Spanish and freed a dozen enslaved Native Americans in what was the first recorded slave revolt in the New World. Read that again. The assailants, condemned to the grinding toil of a Caribbean sugar plantation, killed several Spanish, and freed a dozen enslaved Native Americans in what was the first recorded slave revolt in the New World. What's Native Americans doing on a slave plantation? How come they didn't free African Americans? How come they freed Native Americans?
No such thing as the African American man. No such thing.
Playing. Moors as guides in the Aboriginal Indian country. Hernando de Soto in ancient Carolina. Hernando de Soto. Hernando de Soto made several very curious remarks during his travels. He lamented in one discussion about his Moors being the ancestors of the Indians. The other observation being that after the loss of Moors from his expedition, De Soto's team seemed to have become vulnerable, unstable, and directionally confused. Hernando de Soto also recorded numerous items in ancient Carolina and Alabama bearing Moorish influences, such as those documented in their original narratives confirmed by a scholarly recounting in De Soto's Chronicles, the expedition of Hernando de Soto in North America, 1539 to 1543. Besides these kinds of arrowheads...
Oh, good grand sheet, please. Yeah. Can you say those years again?
1539 to 1543.
Okay.
De Soto,
I love the prophet, right?
De Soto Chronicles.
Right. I love the prophet, Noble Jew Ali. He came back and reminded us who he was. But the prophet started the Old Canaanite Temple in 1913. So those Moors predate the temple by centuries.
Yep.
Did they go to the Moorish Science Temple to do anything? You got to go to the temple to
be a Moor.
Right. Prophet wasn't born until the 19th century. So they wouldn't even know who Noble Jew Ali was, because they was already here.
Remember,
so
that's how these Moors talk. These Moors play like they own your nationality.
Like you have to come to the temple to be a Moor. But clearly there was Moors around forever.
Yep. Moors been around. Moors have been around.
Oh, I think isn't that when they play the oh yeah, you're a Moor, but you're not Moorish American.
Yeah.
Right. That's when they
Moorish American is different than being a Moor. When all throughout Noble Jew Ali's literature, he's talking to Moors. He didn't say Moorish American every single time he made reference to these people that he came for. But they're going to say, oh, he used United States and USA interchangeably. Well, he used Moorish American and Moor interchangeably. Now, how come you guys aren't going there? When we already know that we've been Moors before Moorish Science Temple. What the hell you mean? We weren't Moors before Moorish Science Temple?
When we had emperors, parent potentates, and all type of stuff, and now you just, bring it down to, oh, if you ain't come out of the temple, you're not a Moor. We had a whole empire. What are you talking about?
They're so limited in their mindset to say that you're gonna stand and rep for Moorish Science Temple of America But in that, there's a national flag on the wall, not a religious flag.
Right.
Or an organizational flag, or a corporation flag. It's a national flag that's in the building. And again, this is not a slight on Moorish Science Temple. It's about these idiots that are in there.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with the temple.
There's nothing wrong with the temple. Temple's perfect. Has its purpose to fulfill. But we told Moors, declare, proclaim your nationality. Islam to the Moors near Quebec territory. RCMP, Quebec police investigating use of fake Indian status card for tax breaks. So there's people out here. RCMP is Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which is like federal jurisdiction of police. So they're investigating fake Indian card using people, because the cards that they're giving out look like the cards that Canada gives out to say somebody's native or Aboriginal or Indigenous or whatever. So the concept that they have here is that you're either a status Indian or a non-status Indian. And you think, yeah, all right, status Indian, so that's the one. No, status Indian is the one where they make you Indian. Non-status Indian is the one where they never touched you. They have nothing to do with you. You do whatever you do as quote-unquote Indian. But remember what we just read, that the ancestors of the Indians are Moors. So it's on to the Moors who have their feathers, etc., that felt the vibration and just did that naturally. Not the people who's following people. The people who naturally said, hey, as a Moor, oh, I'm gonna get feathers. And then they went and got feathers, however they wear them. They were on a frequency of knowing that we are the ancestors of the Indians. If they're gonna say there's Native Americans and all that stuff, okay, we're the ancestors of them. That's why they make reference to the Moors of being the ancient ones returned. And again, if the ancient ones return, that means they were Moors before they created the temple, because they would have returned as Moors. They wouldn't return as Negroes to then be Moors. So watch out for
Green Sheep.
yeah, Moor.
Doesn't the Moor don't you have to be a Moor before you build the temple so it can be a Moorish temple?
Right. It can't be a Moorish temple.
How'd you do that?
Prophet knew that. Prophet had to know that. Prophet had to know that, hey, hold on a second. In order for the Moorish temple, who's making people Moors, to exist, a Moor has to build it.
How did he become a Moor?
How did he become a Moor? What magic trick did he pull to become a Moor without a temple? Like, you hear people talking crazy like that?
And mean it too. They be serious, Grand Sheik. They be serious.
That's just serious. like when people want to debate about the patriarchy and the matriarchy.
Right.
And he say, okay, so where women come from? and then they just get frozen. Right? These people really want you to think that the temple created itself, and then a Moor walked out, and that's how the temple started. That's crazy people talk.
That's crazy people.
Only crazy people talk like that. Crazy people to the point where now they're gonna think that they own your birthright.
Yep.
You know how crazy that is? Oh, not to go off track, but you know how crazy it is to say that people don't have a right to travel?
Insane.
You know how insane of a mindset you have to say, actually, you know what? How about we just show you? How about we just show you? We'll start with mom lets the little girl drive her car. We'll start with this one.
Child, please slow down. You speeding today.
Fly.
25? No, ma'am. 15 and 20. Don't go 25.
Right? And you know that it's normal. You know it's normal. Right? That's not a first time. I know they're crazy. Oh my God, it's a crazy parent. Oh no. In the islands, that's what we did too. You sit on the lap and you drive the car with no license, while whoever is the driver could drink. All you have to do is steer. That's it.
That's right.
All you have to do is steer. But we're taking it a level up now. Here's the 10-year-old Uber driver. For the people who say that, the right to travel, you need a license. Right to travel, you need a license and all that stuff, right? Here's the 10-year-old Uber driver. For all these clowns with feathers and turbans talking about the right to travel is not real.
How you doing? How's your day going, ma'am?
Good.
Cool, cool.
Do you want the AC or the windows down?
I'm cool with the windows down.
Okay. Do you want to jam?
Yeah, sure, let's jam out.
Okay.
Favorite fragrance, you got that bomb. I'm trying that in nature. No disrespecting, baby. Just try and make me smile. Try to keep my spirits up. That's why I lace it down. Try to keep your spirits up. Little vodka, whatever. Took it forever to be dressed. I acknowledge your effort. So I clap for her. She deserves an applause. Shawty working so hard. She deserves that baton. Shawty working so hard.
Where's her license, Tarka? Where's her license?
Where is it?
Where's her license at? Where's her license? I want to know where her license is. Where's her license? I want you to show me. Morisco World TV. Where's the license?
I would love to see it. License.
we're going to get ice cream. Yay! Mariah is going to ice cream truck. See, I told you I could do it. This is a really good idea. I hope Mommy doesn't mind out. I'll just buy her a picture and she'll be okay. Okay, what are you going to get? Chicken nuggets? Yeah. Gotta get out. We're here, we're the kitties. It's so strong. Yeah, I can tell you.
So how you saying ain't no right to travel? How? But we have a message for you just before we
And those
start.
are facts. That's evidence and proof and stuff like that, showing. Because he always saying, anybody showing no proof or nothing like that. There you go. Right there.
One more proof you want than that. Where's their license? That's my question. And if they're not exercising the right to travel, then what are they doing? Because in order to go drive, you need your license. So what are they doing?
And those are not Taj Tariqites neither.
Yeah, oh yeah. Those are not Taj Tariqites. You don't even know who the hell Taj is. But they're gonna talk some BS. They're gonna talk their little scare you BS about what if they get in an accident and what if they were stunting your children's excellence. Have your children stooping down to be dumb niggers instead of standing up like true beings.
Because he made it seem like it was only Moors out there exercising their right to travel.
It's not a Moorish thing.
That's that Taj. No.
It's not that Taj stuff. That's a universal.
I was sitting on my dad's lap traveling when I was Negro colored black. No license. I did it.
Yep.
I did it. No, nothing, like I'm riding up the street on my pop's lap. I did it with my son. This was all while, I'm not even thinking about being a Moor.
Exactly.
It's just regular to me. It was just regular.
Yep.
He's the one that's bringing up, keep you in slavery. Bringing up you got to get permission to do that. You got to get permission to do like what?
Mm-hmm.
Does master know you're doing that? So that's what that is. Licenses go back to the Christian black codes.
That's why those are void. That's why those are void. Because you're not Christian. Sundry Free Moors told you that.
So that's evidence of him selling you back into slavery. That's pure evidence right there. Him saying that, doing what he's doing, the Moors trying to exercise their right to travel. Him saying what he's saying is putting you back into the Christian black codes, which is putting you back into slavery. Prophet told you.
Just like Noble Jwali told you they're gonna do to you.
Yeah.
Just like Jwali told you they're gonna do to you.
He did it exactly how the prophet said it. He followed the map.
Same way. Followed the map. Sold you right back into slavery with a turban and a fez on. Do you still think he's not a prophet? All right. Before we start up, it's got this message to send out.
Peace, fam, peace. Hey, back again, Merino Bay. Let y'all know off top, look, if y'all don't like profanity, cut the video off. Now, I'm giving you that warning. Cut it off now because I'm about to go into the old mode, the old me, 10 years ago me. All right. Now, Tahak, you punk ass motherfucker. Tell these people what you really mean, you punk motherfucker. I'll knock that motherfucking fez off your head. God damn it. Now tell them what you really mean.
Stop playing games. Tell them what you really mean. Let them know that you're a sellout. Let them know that you already snitched already. Let them know you already snitched. You're a YouTube snitch, like all the rest of the other ones. The Dane Callaways, the Vlad TVs, all the other snitches out there, who every time you expose their folly, they want to run to YouTube Massa, who's cutting their little 5,000 view check. We already learned from brother House of Tunes that Moors get paid from YouTube. That's a real thing. Don't forget, plus the stuff that you put in their PayPal or whatever, their Patreon and all that BS, and they never did anything for you. Nothing. They got paid from YouTube and they got paid by you. Doesn't that sound like church? Doesn't that sound like the same stuff that the pastor and the priest and the imam and the rabbi and everybody who's down with the so-called corpse goes and registers with them or whatever? And now they got the carpeted stuff with the... They're working on the other side. They have to. That's the only way that they're going to survive. The problem is that the people keep not wanting to do the assisted suicide and pull the plug on these people. They want to see what's next. What do you mean, what's next? They're a fraud. These people killed their prophet. Check the track record. Where's your broom factory at? You're a Moor. Do you know that there were Moorish institutions that were for Moors, that were for you? Do you know that there was a Moorish retirement home for you? That's not around right now and you're not freaking questioning something? Yeah, though, that had nothing to do with me that was back then and all that. Well, no wonder we have nothing now. Because people have been sold out so much that they're selling out their self now. Selling their self out. Doing Act 3 and Act 7 and whatever on their self. Violating their own stuff on their self. Because you never did anything about the problem. Right? Most we can do about the problem is point over there and say, hey, see right there, there's a problem right there. That's all. Every time somebody passes, oh, you see that problem over there? Problem right there. Yeah, people coming to us, hey, there's a problem right over there. You see that one? Like, nah, you're looking over there like, wow, 1,200 for a signature? What do you mean 1,200 for a signature? Well, I went to the temple too. I went to a temple and they wouldn't sign my thing because I'm a member. I'm not a member. And because I got it from RV Bay Publications and they don't use that, so they're not going to witness it. Or if you're not a member, then it has to be 1,200 for a signature. For somebody to go be free. Imagine that. Think about that. You have your freedman's papers. And you go to your brother who's supposed to be another free man. Hey, free man, I'm supposed to get a witness on this paper right here. I see that you're a free man. You got fez, turban, stuff. Okay.
Oh wow, man, that's crazy. Man.
Could you just sign this? Well, sorry, you're not part of my club.
That's crazy.
You're not part of my club, but I'll do it for 1,200.
Oh man,
that's Moorish Science Temple too, huh? That's not, some Moorish whatever. That's Moorish Science Temple. And again, Temple's perfect, but these people are getting tore up right now because they messed with the temple.
And if you sign these papers, you're free my wife, my children, and all of that. You know, I'm thinking, you know, at the same time.
That's all you gotta do. All you gotta do is sign the papers. That's all. And those people are free.
Yep.
You say, nah, 1,200?
1,200.
And you don't sign the papers? And again, this is people's stuff that they come to me with. It's not stuff we dealt with, because we already showed you where we came from. So we weren't attacked by opportunists. They didn't have a chance to try to get close to us.
Gracie, I got a question. When the paperwork that they brought in to get signed, and that they were charging them $1,200 for the signature, did they get that paperwork from them, or did they bring the paperwork themselves?
They brought the paperwork themselves.
Look at that.
It's not even their paperwork that they're giving and saying 1,200. Just the signature only, 1,200. These are Moors.
They don't care where the paperwork came from. RV Bay Publications, nothing. They don't care.
They don't care. Just give them the 1,200. Give them the 1,200 and they're straight.
But I thought you didn't like RV Bay. 1,200 I do.
I love RV Bay with 1,200.
I love them.
What?
Right here.
Oh yeah, and I forgot. Yeah, I saw that one, Root Words. I think all y'all fake Cujo's an immigrant. I saw that one. Hey, Root Words, I saw you on Taharka's dick last night on his show. What are you doing over here? You're a Taharka dick rider. You were on his dick last night. He even shouted you out. Is it in the beginning? Let's see if we can find a shout out that. The shout out that Roots Words got from the dick that he's riding.
Wow.
Thumbs up.
Then he's coming in Canaanland and talk BS. In our chat, FOH Roots Words.
Simply put, let me X this out real quick. Simply put, we have reached the state now that Moorish World TV.
Oh yeah, and for the record, Taharka Bey said, if I play the whole thing, he's not gonna snitch. So we'll skim through the whole thing because we know how these snitchers do when they get mad, when we expose them and their folly.
Well, we are the trendsetters. You follow me? Moorish World TV has become the trendsetters. If anybody familiar with me meeting Brother Taj Tariq for the first time, and I did the video, you know what's amazing to me is how people view things from so many different perspectives and how they trip themselves up so many times. And so when me and Brother Taj meet each other, I've never come back and say that I agree with his philosophical approach to the teachings of the Prophet over Ali. In fact, I disagree at the same level now as I did before.
Now, again, the question is then, if you disagree so much with his teachings or whatever, how come you didn't say that to his face? Why didn't you present what you dislike when you were with him? 45 minutes, that's mad time.
However, that doesn't change the fact that on a personal level, I don't think the guy's a bad guy, but I still disagree. And so after that,
you called him a murderer.
You know,
called him a murderer, and you're gonna say now he's not a bad guy? You said he killed someone. He got someone killed. He's responsible for Korean games getting murdered. And then you're going to say, oh, I'm not saying that he was a bad guy. You called him a killer. What's worse than that? What's worse than that? What's worse than that? He's not a bad guy. Yeah, but he's going around getting people killed, according to you. But you're standing there right to his face. Once again, why didn't you do anything when you were standing right next to him in his face? This is the murderer. He's the one that's he's getting people murdered. He's bringing more to jail. He's bringing down the movement from what he's teaching. The way you're saying it, he's getting people killed, locked up in jail. But when you stood right next to him, nothing.
Zero.
Nothing. Nothing. Now all of a sudden he's not a bad guy. What are you talking about? You got like 30 videos.
Yep.
He called him a murderer. Then gonna stand there. That's see that? That's the tricky guy right there. That's a tricky guy.
Thumbs up tricksters.
I'm looking around the internet, and the weird thing about it, what's up, Root Words? The weird thing about it is,
hey, Root Words. So this is your boy. You're in the chat talking BS.
Disagree at the same level now as I did before. However, that doesn't change the fact that on a personal level, I don't think the guy's a bad guy, but I still disagree. And so after that video went up, you know, I'm looking around the internet, and the weird thing about it, what's up, Root Words? The weird thing about it is how people twisted, in particular, the brother Cujo from Canaanland, boys. Now, Root Words, if you are a Moorish national after watching that buffoonery, then brother, you slipping. You slipping, brother. If you seen my presentation and then you went back and watched this brother, the brother didn't answer near question or near thing that came up that was an issue as a.
Now, keep in mind, I was just an outside bystander. I wasn't involved with no sit down with Taj or nothing like that, which lets you know what? That he definitely watches our stuff. Why is he watching so hard?
Talking about he was searching around the internet.
But he was searching around the internet? What internet you were searching around? You were on Canaanland Moors, like a dick rider. Why? Why? What are you searching for? You already know how we do. Ain't no secret. I told you F you on your own show. You think people got respect for you people? It's obvious. You know, I don't have no hate for anybody, but I definitely dislike lots of stuff. I dislike, and it's a, you know, oh, so much energy going into the whatever. No. Too many people waking up. Do you know that we know Moors? We know Moors who are just waking up or whatever, right? That aren't really completely out. So they might be in a circle, wherever they're at. And there might be Moors there. And these individuals might hear stuff. Hear people talk crazy. Hear people say anything to get the sale. But once individuals are studying, they're not going to get played. Majority of people who are on nationality and birthrights, like we say, they don't need this. You have 2,000 videos in our archives that we have info on there that 2000. It's not just Canaanland Moors only on our stuff. The position is being a beacon light. Every week, voicemail's full. I already know what's up. Certain people have their approach, but I'm from 70s generation. So there's a certain frequency with that. There are certain stick to the roots, stick to the foundation, don't budge for any of this BS. We are talking from the position of Moorish Science Temple. We are talking from the position of Great Seal. We are talking from the position of Moorish Nation. And every single active subsidiary of that. That is right in tune and right in line with what it is that Noble Drew Ali had laid down and what it is to be expected from Moorish Americans, Moors, whatever they say that they L, Bay, L and Bay, Bay and L with whatever. You know that you're Moors, you're not Negro, black, colored or whatever. You got a nationality card, prove your claim. You got some papers, prove your claim. All right, cool. What happened? Oh, well, I used to be part of them and they took my card away, so now I'm not a Moor. You're tripping. And they played you. So these fakers can't give you your birthrights.
Hold on, Gracie.
Yeah, man.
Has that happened?
What's that?
You've heard another Moor went into a temple and they took his national identity?
So he didn't pay his dues.
Wow.
Didn't pay his dues, took his card.
Wow.
And his perspective was that he's not a Moor now because they took the card.
That was their perspective.
That's what they put on him.
Yep.
Right? And again, that's minus the studying. Because if you were studying, you already know that that's birthright. You already know that that's birthright.
Right. That's gym membership, what they claim. Goes gym.
Goes gym. That's what they're on. Membership.
That's what they claim.
This is about nationality, nation, native. I mean, like, that's what the vibration that this is.
They claim membership. Hey, I got a question. If I use my homeboy's membership card, can I sneak in? Like, look at they playing a lot of games, man.
And you know that one used to work too.
Yep.
Oh, it used to
All
work.
right, mine is expired. I'm gonna use my homeboys.
Get in.
I ain't pay my bill this month. I'm gonna use my boys.
Get in. No questions asked.
Membership. That's what you do when you talking membership. They selling birthright. That's unconstitutional. You can't turn a right into a privilege. You can't pay for a right. You can't pay for a right. They try to make people pay for their birthright. That's unconstitutional. You can charge people for treatment for that. That's birthright. You can't do that. You're selling rights. You're selling birthrights at that. That's worse. Straight.
When you worse than the colonizer that's giving out licenses. He's selling rights. When he's giving out a license, he's selling rights.
Yeah.
You selling birthright.
Yeah.
You worse than the colonizer.
Yeah. They're actually selling what's inalienable.
Look at that. That's the word I was looking for. That's what they're doing.
Selling your inalienable rights under the guise of Noble Drew Ali came and brought this for you so you can be in front of the flag and say your name, and then now you're somebody because we made you somebody. Your mom made you somebody. The hell are you talking about? You made somebody. And this is their position. This is why they don't like RV Bay publications, Taj Street Bay and students thereof. Because they're not caught in the club mindset that you get trapped in when you don't study. Digest that. The less you study, the more easy it's you to fall for the traps. Because that's how it's set up. Which is the point of making sure that you study, especially studying yourself. I mean, like when I look at Tahir Kabir, I see a reflection of myself. I'm Allah. I'm a lion man. But whatever spirit has that being is not on the frequency. Definitely not on the frequency. Because we already know that there's some little room that he has set up. That, you know, people gonna play around. All these people that talk BS, notice that they disappear. We have Rolodex on people. Like we have files on people. We told you people are using dead people's social security numbers and stuff like that. You're talking about some conscious community. They're using dead people's social security number, telling you about come to their lecture, and you're going like a dumbass. Yo, the last maybe 6-7 Moors in Canaanland that came to the temple is because they knew Moors, but those Moors never told them about the temple. In their studying, they found out about the temple. If you want to talk about why the sellout, why use that as subject matter. There's Moors right now who don't tell Moors go to the temple that they went to and got everything that they got. Do you think there's not a sellout here? We're getting people seconds. That they already hit these people up for 5,000-6,000 already. Now we're getting their seconds now. Now we got to deal with these people who they robbed or whatever and try to steer them in a direction that they should have been before they spent the 6 G's. Because the same thing that these people were taught, that played them for 6 grand. All because what? Inalienable rights were sold. We tell you that these people are committing high treason. You're worried about some Trump. Trump's telling you, I'm a nationalist. He's jumping out the way. He already knows what's up. The word is God, right?
Isn't the word God? So if he said, I'm a naturalist, I'm not a globalist, what is he putting into the ethers? This European blonde guy, who he's the white man and he's not spiritual and he doesn't know nothing about anything and he's just a cracker. He hates black people. They put hex on all you people playing stupid. Now you're going to have to reap the karmic debt. Because your dumbass wants to be civil little mortus and claim that you're Moors when you're part and partial to the U.S. corpse. Admittingly, you're part and partial to the U.S. corpse. And we're supposed to think you don't work for the other side? We're supposed to be non-thinking Moors? We're supposed to be inactive, is what you're saying. Never that. Because we're definitely not letting this man die in vain for you sellouts to do your BS.
My last will and testament. Or this is my eulogy. This is my eulogy to that concept. Because now it's time for Moorish World TV to move on. I've made my points. I'm going to make a few tonight. And I'm going to keep it moving. Because watch when you see this ridiculous, this foolishness. Watch when you see these clips that I share. When you see these clips that I share, you would have to say yourself like, yeah, bro, it's time to keep it moving. So here we go. Let's start off, man. Let's start off with some of these clips. So first of all, what I did was, while I was going live the other day, and we were talking about the Taj situation, these brothers over there at Canaanland, more the one brother, he was screenshotting my video, my live stream, and he was in real time giving commentary. Bad move. He looked truly bad. Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep it 100. The brother actually looked like he's a little bit illiterate or slow. He acts like he looks a little bit illiterate and slow. I mean, his commentary did not match the common sense. And you had people up there like, yeah. But we're gonna get into it. Let me get some of these slides first. Let me get some of these slides. We're gonna get into it. So, one of the first slides that I'm going to show is.
You see that? See how you just be talking just to be talking? See that? That's the part right there. Like, see that? That was a quick 47 seconds to a minute of just. I just lost all, like, didn't learn anything.
Rambles.
Just got dumb for 1 minute. Like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Just talking to be talking.
Is a learning lesson, right? So this is why it's important. This is why it's important when you watch my show and it seems as if I'm coming at people. At the same time, I am going to teach at the same time. You know what I mean? It's time to let go and not lend your energy to that controversial stuff anymore and just teach from here on out. I agree, Fraser Bay. I agree, Fraser Bay, to a degree. I will still step to them if they talk too crazy. But I agree. Because now watch what I show tonight in comparison to what I've showed. Watch this. So let's go with the first slide. This is a learning moment. This is a teachable moment. And this teachable moment is talking about how these brothers keep talking about enforcing the Constitution. And now I'm going to teach as to what it really means to enforce the Constitution. That's what they mean. They're talking about going out there recklessly and talking crazy, you know, and saying that this is my land and you don't have the right on my land. I have the right to do this. I have the right to do that. You know what I mean? So now check this out. I'm going to show you from the Moorish of America, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali perspective, what he means by enforcing the Constitution. And I'm only going to use the Prophet's words. I'm not going to use my words. I may have to, you know, explain what I'm saying, but I'm not going to use my words. I'm only going to use the Prophet's words. Here we go. Oh, that's the divine warning. Hold one moment. Hold on one moment. Let me pull up, because this is where we find the lessons in the divine warning. So that's why I got that up. But what I did was I chopped it for you so you can get it right. So look. Now, first of all, when he says that one of the main components of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or let me say it right. Let me say it right. A noble draw of these teachings is enforcement of the Constitution. Hold up. A noble draw of these teachings is enforcement of the Constitution. One of the main components of Taj Tariq Bey teachings is enforcement of the Constitution. Now, family, if the main component of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was enforcement of the Constitution in the sense in which he's talking about, why we never hear the Prophet Noble Drew Ali taking a stand, protesting, as these guys are protesting the right to travel and all that? But whatever the case may be.
Hey, you protest right to travel anytime?
Moorish can't protest. I'm not protesting anything.
Which Moors do you know protest? Some.
I don't know any Moors picketing and marching and talk about we got the right to travel. I don't know nothing. Not one. Never seen it, nothing.
I think he's reaching right now.
That's because he's mad. Because he's mad.
They think that means to do all of this adverse stuff as an individual, thinking they're going to get somewhere and prove something to somebody. But this is the only place that it says this. And the enforcement of the Constitution. To help me in my great missionary work. Family, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm going to tell you something. Enforcement of the Constitution only means for us to use the standard that is used
Okay.
by
All right. Okay. Now, I don't even want to. He said it right there, for us to use the standard. Now, go back and play those three little girls exercise their right to travel, because that's their standard. And those are not Taj Tariqites. That's the standard. They're exercising the right to travel. But, don't make it seem like the Moors over there, that's their, doctrine or whatever. No, get out of here with that, bro. That's a lie. You're lying. You lying. You lying.
And if you're talking about a standard, think about the standard of all the so-called judges, different politicians or whatever that came out saying the exact same thing, that if they're not enforcing the Constitution, don't even take these people seriously, because they're obviously not working with the people. If they're not working with the people, there's a problem.
Whoever's telling you, yeah, you're supposed to enforce the Constitution, but you're not supposed to enforce it like that, they try to steal your birthright. That's the same thing the colonists do. But the Constitution, not like that. Like anything for them to be able to still be the winner or the victor at the end. For them to be able to control the birthright, control the estate.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's to enforce the Constitution, but enforce it, well, I hate to tell you, this is the standard. And I'm like, well, who says that you get to say that that's the standard?
That's the standard, right?
Who are you? What reference points do I get to go by from that? Where did you get that from? The enforcement of the Constitution, you read anything outside of the Constitution is unconstitutional. License is not in the Constitution. Therefore, it's unconstitutional.
Is paying the IRS taxes in the Constitution?
Right. Right. I mean, a lot of things, man.
Unbelievable.
That we must move on the same standard that is expected by any other immigrant or any other indigenous person here. The same principle. So if they come into this country and they must fill out some paperwork or take a national, be naturalized, however they become a citizen, they acknowledge where they're coming from and they acknowledge where they're at.
Okay.
If they go and they are born here and they're born a citizen here, whenever they have to move on official work as it relates to identifying who they identify who they are, where their foreparents came from, and where they are or was born in this lifetime, if you will. So, as you
more, go ahead.
I don't know which part. I don't know what part you. Okay. Because that whole part is. He don't know what he's talking about.
Yep.
Okay, where you're born. Okay, that's just like I remember a Moabitist that said, "Well, if I was born on the Pacific Ocean, would I be a Pacifican?" Like, what do you mean? And if you got the paperwork, if you got the papers on the Pacific Ocean, that's what qualifies you. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
You can't be a Pacifican if you were born. Like, he's confused because he don't know what he's talking about. Because if he's saying where you're born, okay, well, according to him, this is the United States of America. This ain't Morocco.
Right.
So he's a United Statesian. He's not Moroccan because he wasn't born over there. Because he would have to say that's Morocco over there. So he's contradicting his whole everything.
Yeah.
His whole everything by saying what he just said. He just contradicted everything. Because he don't know law. He know church.
Yep.
Soon as he starts talking law, national, and what you can do, he start messing up because he don't know what he's talking about.
Doesn't know. That's not his dial play isn't on that as stuff to study.
Right.
It's limited to what Noble Drew Ali said, and that's it.
And he looked at that at a low level because he never had the dictionary hardcover book in front of him.
Never.
Everything they do is Google.
PowerPoint. Google, man.
Never any reference, nothing to, because the prophet said, but you want to, we cross-reference and double-check everything. Yeah. Anybody said.
Yeah.
Why not do stuff to back what the prophet is saying? You don't even do that. You just look at it, knowing that, what's the name of those files again?
Mukarabin files?
Yeah, exactly. When you hear about that file and you listen what's going on and the papers that was with Noble Drew Ali's wife and went to another, like all the different hands that stuff went into the dirty Moors back then that had got a hold of the papers and stuff like that, you start questioning everything.
Yeah.
And then okay, because that's the other thing too, like what temples are still active now that came from those Moors that killed the prophet, because there's a paper trail, you can follow it.
Exactly. And again, like we said, if Noble Drew Ali is getting chased around with a knife and no Moors did anything, that's very telling as to who was dirty.
They put
That's
the
very
proper
telling.
stuff on the street.
You know, and that's why they always go on to dwell in the past. No, but it's not dwelling in the past. It's seeing for yourself with your own eyes that it was never going to be done unless Moors did their part, because they couldn't stop this man. Like him and Garvey were head to head. Like they were crossing the line at the same time. Noble inched ahead because he brought you your nationality back. Right? Even Brother Latif is saying the FBI report on Moorish Science Temple of America says that Noble Drawley died in a street fight outside the temple. Now, let's just say that did happen. Where were the Moors at? Who loved the Prophet and all that stuff? How's he dying in a street fight and then where's the Moors at? How is he even in a street fight? Where were the Muftis at? Like, where were they? And these people talking all this stuff about, you know, not having an army. Like I said, the Moors in Mecca had fleets of cars. Forget an army if you can exercise your right with fleets of cars. Anywhere we're going, at least 3 cars have to go. At least 3. What land did we have? We have the Moroccan Empire. What do you mean, what land do we have? Go read chapter 47 in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. That's the land that we have. No, whoever has it. No, all that's on paper. That's not land. They don't have the land. Nobody owns the land. They own land. It's not yours. You made that. They're owning that.
Unalienable.
Can't own what's unalienable. And if you attempt to, you're a fraud. So that's our land. And again, the only reason people are talking crazy is because they heard some other Moors talk BS. And they think that that's something credible. And these people taking Noble Drawley stuff, butchering it up, and causing confusion. This is about liberating our people. This is not about them suffering. And only suffering because they don't know the truth. And they don't know the truth because there's Moors out here who the only people out here with truth. Forget the Negro, the blacks, the colored, the conscious, all the different groups or whatever. Moors. Dirty Moors are a problem. Because they should be righteous. Because they know better. They have the lessons. Why wouldn't they be righteous? How are you going to say that Moors who are righteous aren't righteous? And we're smoking you out all night too, Taharka. Smoking you out all night.
You can see this is the divine morning. I have it right here all written out in the whole demonstration right here. I would encourage people to go and read it. The reason why I would encourage people to go and read it is the simple fact. The simple fact is that they are only reading one line to you. That's all they're reading to you. They're
Smoking out
reading
the
one
foxhole
line to
tonight.
you, and that's the enforcement of the Constitution. Enforcement of the Constitution means that whatever standard is used to establish your citizenship in America, the same standard must be enforced on everybody, not just people of European descent, people of Mexican descent, people of whatever. It must be enforced on everybody. And so, when the Prophet Noble Ali said, I love my people, and I desire their unity and mind back to their own national and divine standard. National and divine standard speaks to the unity of a nation within the borders of a nation. This is the national standard. Us thinking in one accord nationally. Us moving on the same rhythm nationally. This is national and divine standard. The divine part is the real, true standard that we really need to start to think about first, because that part is what connects us to our divine creator, our source of life. So the national standard is moving in one accord.
Now, but we do know too that nationality deals with a state. But he don't know that. He don't know that. He just making it on a low frequency. Nationality deals with a state. We back to the land again. But you keep thinking this is the United States. This ain't the United States. This is Morocco.
Exactly. And that's also the standard, because everybody knew that here was Morocco. It's not just something Moors now are saying.
The national standard is moving in one accord, moving together in one rhythm. The divine standard is understanding that we come from a divine source. Now it goes on to say, I love my people and I desire their unity and mind back to their own national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government. This is our government, family, by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. This is how you know that the prophet is referring to us on an equal playing field with anybody else.
The reason why it's an equal playing field, because this is your land. Everybody's a foreigner here. But we're going to start talking about American, and because they're Chinese, they're American. They're not American. They're Chinese. They might be naturalized U.S. whatever citizen Chinese, but they're not no Chinese Americans.
And whatever that is, that's not de jure. Because the only way you can be naturalized over here is the nationals of the land have to do it. You can't just, I don't know how he should know that too. But again, he keeps thinking this is the United States. Trump is his prophet. That's
straight up.
That's who runs this over here. They got to go see Trump to be able to come over here, not the true de jure Moors of the land.
Right.
If anything, the temple should be set up for those immigrants to come through there and get naturalized.
Which is why in the literature it talks about a Moor getting pulled into a store that was ran by some Arabs. And that all the Arabs had a nationality card for the Moorish Science Temple. And the Arabs pointed at a man and said, yo, you know that man? And the Moor said, yeah, that's my prophet. So yeah, Moorish Science Temple of America were doing the naturalization, which is why Noble Drew Ali could bring them in when he talked about them in the literature. Because they were also members. They also took their position as, yo, yeah, we're gonna rep that. We'll rep it. You're talking Allah and all that stuff, like we already know what's up. Just like he was probably member of their stuff. Because they're all the same fam. But only one was the de jure. And everybody knows that Islam was brought to the Negro, black, colored, and whoever else wanted to know in the Americas by Noble Drew Ali. That's documented fact. Everybody knows that. And they know that he didn't do that as some Timothy Drew. He did that as a free national. What was his government in 1913? What government was he part of? Because he was an official. What government were they recognizing him as being part of? So they never recognized him as being part of the United States government. Only in the convention you hear them call him president. But they're not going to go there. But if they go there, then you realize why Noble Drew Ali said we are a nation. Because at that point, everything was back. Their stuff was going to fall, and the Moors were in the seats of power. Now everybody has to come. We already got all these 500,000 Arabs and Japanese and whoever that came over there. And when they came here, they joined Moorish Science Temple. Voided all that US BS that they were repping to get over here. Messed it up. And then people want to play sorry with Dirty Moors now. Same people kill a prophet, you're playing operation with them, have them take your stuff out. The hell are you talking about? These are the same people that violated you. You had a retirement home. Moors, like, listen to what the hell is going on. I'm a grand sheik. I'm a divine minister. I'm a grand governor. There were Moorish colonies in the Americas. Turbans and fezzes, Moors there. Have their own stuff going on. Nobody even paying them any attention. The Moors had a broom factory. Not a broom store, a broom factory. You know what a factory is in the 1920s? And these Johnny-come-latelys gonna build their little BS and try to convince you that they're doing something for the Moors? They're gonna come out here taking Noble Drew Ali's literature, dissecting it and all that as if they're teaching you something. When these people been sold you out, that's why you don't even know what the hell's going on about Noble Drew Ali or whatever. You've been supposed to know this. You just find this out yesterday. You're supposed to come out the womb knowing this. Remember, this is your birthright they're playing with. Keep playing around. Like, oh yeah, Cujo, that was a good class or whatever like that. And don't realize these people are selling out your birthright. Look at that, me. Don't worry about me. People, that's your birthright too they're selling out. Don't just, like, I'm standing up for something. I'm letting you know that these people are selling you out. What you mean? I'm a grand governor. I don't use those titles or whatever. When you hear me ever say that I'm that? When you hear me ever say I'm divine minister or whatever, I got them titles. This isn't about titles. And like I said, people tell me I'm Grand Sheik. I don't say, when I call people, this is Grand Sheik Kudro or whatever. I don't talk like that. What the hell are you talking about? Feels funny. Why would I do that? I have my own appellation. I need some title. Be somebody, to mean something to somebody. Can't be some BS. These people have been parading around with the titles, getting all the benefits. Moorish nursing home, not even anywhere to be seen right now. And then people are going to talk BS. Well, where the Moorish have? The Moorish don't have whatever.
You sold us out.
Because the fucking sellout, that's why.
Now they try to sell it back to us.
And then try to sell it back to you. How they sell you out, then try to sell you back the sellout.
That's why that's why other nations, they be worried when they talk to us, man. They don't like us. They don't like us because they see it.
They see that some shifty stuff is going on, and you have to prove yourself to these people. That's why it's so hard, Moors. Moors who been putting the metal to the grindstone. Know how hard it is. Like to get that perfect edge. It's that hard because of the work these people are doing behind closed doors. To keep the people dumb. Because once the people bump into them first, now they could be, that's a potential victim. Unless that individual's already been studied. Like we know Moors who bump into dirty Moors and they get back to us on some, look what these dirty Moors tried or whatever. Try to play me like I'm stupid, like I don't study. Talking about people who claim to be Moorish Science Temple. Stop people at the door. Tell them they can't come in there. What do you mean I can't come in here? I'm a Moor. A nationality card or whatever. What do you mean I can't come in? No, you can't come in here if you're not a member. You can't come in here. What? That, hold on a second. Back up. Sign says Moorish Science Temple on it. That's why nobody takes this serious. But when you prove it to them and they realize that you're really the ones, like the real Moors, the Moors that, well, not the ones, not the Spain Moors, the Moors before those ones. Yes, so happy to meet you, bowing and all that. Why don't you do commercials for their store? Because you know you're a Moor.
That was crazy.
Just because you know you're a Moor. You go there anytime, shop, give you whatever you want, doesn't matter. Because that day when you came in here, you made my day. You made me think about my family again, and my granddad and my uncle and my whatever, because you were wearing that tarbush. You were wearing the tarbush.
Yep.
If the Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, let me stop sharing and bring it back to you. Let me stop sharing and bring it back to you. I don't think it shared with you that time. Let me stop sharing and bring it back to you real quick. It goes on to say, I love my people and desire their unity back to their own national and divine standards. Because day by day, they have been violating the national constitution and laws of their government. See, the problem is that these weed heads, no pun intended, that these weed heads are not thinking properly.
Oh yeah, I just forgot. Let's just think properly. Let's just think properly. Quick, fast. Because people really play games with you. Play games with you. Don't let her play games with you.
Don't let her play.
Don't let her play games with you. Spiritual seekers and recreational users today recognize the power of cannabis to open one's mind to seeing the world from an entirely different perspective. They're not alone. Historically, cannabis was imbibed in religious and spiritual practices to help one open the doors to the soul. By opening to the inner world with the help of cannabis, practitioners were able to connect with the divine and carry back understanding of our place in the cosmos. Now, doesn't that sound like the same place that he's saying that, you know, the spirit and we are the light and all that type of stuff? So if cannabis assists you in getting to that place of spiritual enlightenment, why would they talk negative? How come they're not talking negative about the shamans? How come they're not talking negative about incense and sage? Those burn. When you burn incense, when you burn the sage, you inhale that. That might even take you on some heights. Because of how real it is. Hold on, bro. Yeah. Again, you know, this is not everybody. This is just some information.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not forcing anybody to go do whatever with cannabis. We're just, you know, somebody talk BS about cannabis, we're just putting out some information. It's rumored cannabis was one of the plants in the holy oil Jesus used to anoint his apostles and later to perform miracle healings. Know what Jwali said, for those who love Jesus, right? Okay. And Jesus had cannabis in the oil that he used to anoint the apostles. But these people are going to talk BS about cannabis. But they say they love Noble Jwali though. This is the same oil the early Gnostic Christians described as being used to baptize and anoint. The recipe of holy oil, according to Exodus, included cinnamon, cassia, myrrh, and cannabis. Today's scientific research shows cannabis's medicinal properties could certainly have helped heal many of the conditions Jesus and his followers cured. Certainly, the connection Jesus and his followers made to the divine and the understanding they carried back with them from their ecstatic experience could have been made in partnership with cannabis. Shamans and magicians have used cannabis, among other spiritual plants, to alter consciousness as they enter into the magical realms. Rituals around cannabis have been recorded as long as 5,000 years ago. It's been used in initiation ceremonies and various rites throughout Asia, Africa, and Europe. The ancient Scythians burned cannabis in their funerary rites for kings, as described by Herodotus, and corroborated by archaeologists who found the remains of the tent structures offering vessels and burnt cannabis seeds at ancient Scythian dig sites. The Kurgans, a Proto-Indo-European people who lived 5,000 years ago in the region today known as Romania, used cannabis in their religious rites. Early Chinese necromancers, too, used cannabis to move through time and see future events. As a spiritual ally, cannabis has helped shamans and others delve into the mysteries of what it means to be human, how we fit into this earthly realm, and to heal deep wounds for the people. Just put that out there for people talking BS, and for everybody else, just, you know, two for the GS.
Right. Right.
That these blunt smokers are not thinking properly. The prophet tells you that it's their government, i.e. your government, by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional.
Hold on. So it's their government and it's your government, but it only says their government there?
Right.
Now hold on a second. Okay. I love my, because we're not thinking right, so let me just make sure I'm not thinking right. Okay, so this is Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali said, I love my people and I desire their unity and mine back to their own national and divine standard. Right? So clearly, there he's talking about is my people. Because day by day, they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. So these Moors are supposed to already be engaging and being their own government by this point. If he's talking about Moors violating, that means there are Moors who weren't violating that were an example of the national and divine standard that Moors should be following. He can't be using himself only as a representative of his people, which is plural. So he's not talking about some individuals that have some titles. The people, echoing the enforcement of the Constitution, because that's how the Constitution talks. And if he's talking about my people, he's talking about Moorish Americans. He's talking about what you already have in your face that you don't even know. You're still looking at divine minister as some religious title instead of a governmental official. And then he brought it in. If Italians, he didn't say if Italian Americans. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, and Turks are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government. Which constitutional government? U.S? No. The Moorish Divine and National Movement, which is why all these people had nationality cards. Because the United States of America is a political jurisdiction in the 1920s that included South and Central and the islands. So United States of Morocco was really what was happening. which is why it's a known fact that there were Barbary states in America. So when these people get here, these Italians, these Greeks, these English, these Chinese, these Japanese, these Turks, they're naturalizing to get here, but they're going to check the Moors after they get here to become members of those associations. Specifically Moorish Science Temple, UNIA, whatever, any way that they can help. If they're not doing that, they're setting up their own stuff. Because all they have to do is live by the national and the divine standard. And they got a national constitutional laws of their government. And they're claiming their name, Italian, Greek, Chinese, whatever. The free national name, they're proclaiming it. Because we know that they're not American. So when Noble Drew Ali's talking about American citizens, he's talking about North, South, Central America and the islands. And those governments. And this abandoned government in the North that they're playing that they're Negroes. When look at all the rest of the Americas. Look at the rest of the Americas. Everybody's their own republic. But these Negroes in North America want to talk about U.S.A. citizens. And they got feathers on. When these people are begging and waiting for, we got Moors who you better not call them even Borican. They're Moors. Forget what you say. There's Moors that are saying, don't even try it with Negros and Negra, Moreno, Morena. No Negro. They get mad. You call them black. They get upset. Why? Because they have a free national name and religion. They have a constitutional government of the United States of America because they're in America. Again, these goofs are going to try to tell you that there's such a thing as a Moorish Canadian. How is there a Moorish Canadian? Well, because there's a Moorish American and then more, but if Canada's in North America, then why not Moorish American? And if you are a citizen of U.S.A., then you're not Moorish American. You're Moorish United Statesian. Because you can't be Moorish American and tell me your nationality card says you're a citizen of U.S.A.
Islam, Great Sheik.
Islam more.
Now, I know you're gonna let it play, but he's gonna use it. He's gonna say, I don't know what Cujo's thinking that the United States and Canada are not separate. I don't know. That's in his mind, and it's like I'm like, what are you like? You made like he's going along with the political lines that the United States and Canada corporation, de facto corporations have put up. Yeah. He's saying that they exist, and then trying to. Well, you gonna. That's what I'm saying. You gonna let it play?
Yeah, I'm going to right now.
Yeah, okay. I think he's about to let it play. Say
it. Follow me? Japanese, they be Tao. See? Turks, maybe Islam. Arabians, maybe Islam. If they are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, now stop, wait there, wait a minute. They say that the United States of America is fictitious.
Today. United States of America in the 1920s was a geographical location representative of all the so-called states in America that were independent. They have their own coat of arms, they have their own seal, they have their own flag, they have their own things that they've been exercising. But this jurisdiction above Mexico playing around that they're not Moroccan. This man brought their flag back, which would mean they're United States of America, Morocco. Somebody else is United States of America, Brazil. Somebody's United States of America, Guyana. We're United States of America, Morocco, if we're going to say we're United States of America. And that's the only way that we would ever be United States of America as Moors, is if we're United States of America, Morocco.
Morocco recognized the United States. So, like, how can that be?
Like, how?
We recognize them. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about now? What are you talking about? Obama went up there and told you. Morocco recognized us. What is he saying now?
Who was he talking to? The Negroes?
How can we be part of that if we recognize them? They said that. Their president. He came on there and told y'all, told them, y'all recognize us. That's what the treaty is made. Like, what happened? Because his thing is stuck at the temple. His thing don't go past the temple. Once you go past the temple, you don't know nothing about that.
Yo, you know how much of a Hulk smash that is? You have to say that one again. Because that is the straight truth.
That's the killer.
Morocco recognized U.S. So if you're Moors, which means you're descendants of Moroccans born in America, how are you claiming to be U.S. when you're Moroccan? Listen, don't get played.
And it's a corporation. And in that regard, in a sense, you might be right. However, the prophet tells you how we identify this territory. The United States, these are the prophet words. These are not mine. He calls this place the United States of America.
Right? Oh, so that means he's backing everything that we're saying, but leaving out Morocco. The prophet said he called this place United States of America. Okay, so when Noble Drew Ali said United States of America, then he wasn't talking about a geographical location. According to them, he was talking about government. But if United States of America is a place or relative to place, then it can't be a government. So then again, you have to ask that question. Well, if United States of America is not the government, then what's the government for the Moors? Morocco, dummy, because you're in Morocco. And Obama told y'all, Morocco recognized us. Playing.
He does that. I'm not calling it that. You say it's not the United States of America. Cujo. The prophet says it is.
The prophet said, this place is United States of America. So don't start bringing up government now called United States of America, because you just put it on the record that when Noble Drew Ali said United States of America, he was referring to a place, which is not a government. It's not a nation. It's a geographical reference point. The United States of America implies there's some type of state sovereignty there. Brazil has their state sovereignty that they're exercising as Brazil. Cuba has theirs. Guyana has theirs. Paraguay has theirs. All the islands, they have theirs. They make treaties with whoever, whether they get effed with no rubber or whatever. Whatever they're in, they made the arrangement to be wherever they're at. With people in positions posing like they're for the people when they weren't for the people, they were for the corporate enterprise that was masquerading as government. United States of America in the 1920s was not that. So Noble Drew Ali was not talking about some government when he made reference to their national divine standards, their government. He was talking about it being Moroccan. And you already have established, it's right in front of you right now. All your political heads or whatever are called grand chiefs and grand governors and divine ministers and grand treasurers and grand secretaries and grand whatever else you want to make up as you go along, because there's going to be many departments in the government. And because the stuff will be crashed, everybody would be able to put their energy behind the new government ran by the Aboriginal Indigenous people who've been living by the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice since 1913 or whatever. So they're somewhat established. And then they have the backup of this other individual, Marcus Garvey, that he has all the rest of them under wraps. And then why not put our energy towards that? Because that is the new world order. Everything going back into the hands of the Moors. But that got inherited. By the people who were around the prophet. And we're here now to make sure that the babies don't get played out of their birthright. Because it's really their birthright.
He said, it's no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all American citizens alike. You were born a citizen, but we must teach you your nationality. Because we must teach our people that nationality in the divine creed. You are born a citizen, but you don't understand.
So if you're born a citizen, what's the name of your citizenship? If you're a Negro, black, colored, and then you proclaim their nationality, what citizen were you born as? Because I know Negro, black, colored is not citizenship. And I know you can't be a U.S. citizen. So what were you really? Oh yeah, you were ipso jure Moorish citizen because you couldn't prove where the hell you came from because you're a dumbass. You got fooled out of your birthright by somebody who was dumber than you. And now they're parading around with your birthright in lodges or whatever, and you're talking about they're doing some secret stuff in the coffins or whatever. Shut the hell up. They're playing around with your birthright. These people riding around in clown cars and stuff like that. You think they don't know what they're doing? You think they're not being you? Go get Brother Abdullah's book so you could find out about the Corvette.
Yep.
And why they ride around those little cars and you looking at them and they got the street shut down and all this type of stuff, and they're doing that same stuff Noble Drew Ali was doing in the 1920s without the clown car. Get the street shut down, have a parade so everybody could see the Moors. And you just walk down the street. That's the Moors, the band plays some music or whatever like that. The trapeze artists, the Moorish trapeze artists doing the trapeze, their fez never falls off. They ride the tightrope, fez never falls off, nothing. Had it locked. If you're born a citizen, what citizens are you? American citizens. Okay, if you're an American citizen, what is your government? You can't be a citizen without a government. And if you're American, then you should have an American government. So what's your government? And anyway they go, they get trapped because you can't play around.
You have to have a nationality before you.
Like, come on, yo. You know what I mean? You have to have nationality. Even if right? Even to be naturalized, you have to have a nationality to give up.
And again, didn't a Moor have to build the Moorish temple in order for it to be a Moorish temple?
Right.
Like that goes right back to that. You're not getting away from that.
Yeah.
It goes right back to that.
What was the citizen? What was his citizenship? Because if Noble Drew Ali, founded the Moorish Science Temple, but the Moorish Science Temple makes people Moors. What American citizen was he?
Right. What was he?
Right? What was he?
He would have to be a Moor. He would have, since he started it, he couldn't be Negro, black, and colored and start a Moorish Science Temple. That's wrong.
Definitely could.
That's fraud.
That's definitely fraud.
Be a Moor.
That's definitely fraud.
And what made the prophet a Moor? His mother.
Not some club.
Nope.
Was
the prophet's mother in the Moorish Science Temple? Because like they just put themselves in the corner. Like, what do you mean? You gotta come through the temple, or like it's crazy.
So crazy.
Or you gotta be you were born a citizen. How'd you do that? How'd you do that?
You were born a citizen.
A citizen of what, too? Like you said, ipso jure. Because, you know, according to the 13th, the 20 articles, blacks can't be, quote unquote, black people can't be United States citizens.
Yeah, beats me too, more. Those are the ones where you just scratch the head on.
So what are you a citizen of? I would like to know that. And we recognize the United States. You're not getting away from that. That crushes everything. We recognize them. But I recognize them. But now I got to go get a license from them, who I recognize.
Who you recognize.
Just right there, that don't make sense.
Right.
You ask me if you can have whatever, then I'm going to turn around and go ask you for some, whatever. Like, you need my permission to do anything. But now I'm supposed to go up to you and buy it. and buy it from you, which I already have by birthrights. And that's why when we say they selling, when I say they selling out, they literally are too. And selling. They selling out and selling.
Selling out and selling. Yeah. Selling out and selling. And again, we're telling people this is your birthright. You know what I mean? We hope that you use your common sense or whatever and not just be loose, be like a whore with the birthright, opening your legs to every whatever you can get from the birthright. You know, just because you have a hole, you want to put something in there or whatever. You know, like we hope that you be diplomatic, be reserved, be respectful of this. You know what I mean? It's your stuff. Like treat it like how you would treat your favorite whatever you like. Whatever it is that you like, that you know, yo, anybody mess with this, I'm gonna, yo, treat the birthright like that. Give it that level of honors. You know. You think certain people aren't playing around with you?
The power of your citizenship. This is why it must be enforced on all citizens alike. You see? So brothers say U.S. is the corp, not the USA. Bro, the prophet used all of these names interchangeable, and I'll show you in a minute.
Right, and like we brought up earlier, well, the prophet uses Moors and Moorish Americans interchangeable. How come you keep talking this thing about Moorish Americans are the real Moors that Noble Drew Ali brought, and Moors are just somebody, other Moors? No. Moorish American and Moors are used interchangeable, just like the United States of America and the United States is used interchangeable. And obviously, 1920s, again, Noble Drew Ali is writing to reach the people where they're at. Yes, we know about him saying those things. United States and United States of America. Guarantee, because Noble Drew Ali told me to think and save myself, I would be a damn fool to say, because I'm in Canada, we're going to say Moorish Science Temple of Canada and push that as Noble Drew Ali brought that. We'll be a damn fool, and we'll be a big sellout, because that's corporate. So if Noble Drew Ali said these things, he's talking about constitutional government of the United States of America. That's Morocco in my mind today. Forget what anybody would think it should be, or what did he mean, or I wasn't there, I don't know. But if I read that, United States of Morocco is the constitutional government. Why? Because Barack told y'all. Morocco recognized us. If Morocco recognized them, that means Morocco had supreme authority. And if Morocco recognized some Europeans in America, that means America is obviously Morocco.
But then he'll say, it's not me saying it, it's the prophet saying it. Okay. But he knows, just like you just said, he was there to reach the people where they were at. He told you to study and save yourself. So why isn't he breaking it down like that? Because he's there to cause confusion. instead of him just breaking it down like, okay, because it's real, you can't refute that. We recognize the United States. That's worldwide known. The world knows that. You can't refute that. We're supreme authority. Morocco, the Moors, we are. You can't refute that. That's documented evidence. So that's obvious that the prophet was talking to him at where they were at. That's the obvious.
Yeah.
That's the obvious. That's the obvious. You come in, you talking to people who were straight Jesus lovers. That's all they knew. Coming out of that they didn't know nothing else. They're thinking of them as, in the European perspective, they didn't ever think of it how the prophet came.
Yeah.
With the teachings of him, and breaking it down, bringing it, teaching the people how to think all over again, having schools and stuff.
Yeah.
Alamy, your national descent name. And so when you're talking about the national descent name, let me see if we got any questions in the chat. So when you're talking about family, your national descent name, that is Moorish. Your national descent name is Moorish. Your free national name is American. If Italian and Greeks are forced to claim their free national name, the national name is where you're at. You are in a nation.
Right? So if you are in a nation, and
your national name is where you're at.
The place where you're at is your national name. Right? The place where you're at is the national name.
That's colored.
Then people in Canada wouldn't be Moorish Canadian. They would be Canadian American.
Oh. Since you're in Canada, right?
Since I'm in Canada, and Canada's the whatever, well, why wouldn't they never say that? Because that sounds like a dumb jackass saying that you're Canadian American. Because Canada's in America. What do you mean? That whole jurisdiction above Mexico is one thing. There's a border today because of fraud, and it's cheating. But this is one jurisdiction. There's nothing separating North America. Like I'm saying, the wildlife have, they got something we should look into, because I don't see them getting asked for no passports to go anywhere. I mean, bear squirrels be taking nuts over the border, and they're not stopping those squirrels and telling them about their nuts. How come you're bringing so much nuts and all that? So we know the borders are fiction.
Do birds get passports? I ask my son that all the time.
Bird passport. They got the lineup of the birds going through some whatever. The bird security.
Bird has more freedom. It's crazy.
You watch baseball and they call the Nationals. They representing the nation. Baseball can.
The baseball team, isn't that Washington?
That represents the nation.
Now, I swear Washington is its own separate jurisdiction.
Right.
Clearly, they're not nationals. Because Washington baseball team is not a nation.
That's a business. That's a corporate business. See, and that's how you know they using birthright and corporation and corporate mixed together.
Mixed together, selling you out.
Even in his examples, he does it. He has to.
That's the only way that it works for them. That you have to be corporate. Listen to what you said. Even the baseball team is teaching you about being national.
How?
A baseball team's a corporation. They could never teach you about being national.
That's just wrong. That like what was that?
I don't know what he was trying.
Nothing.
I don't know what he was trying.
Nothing to do with nothing. Just
and Moorish nationals. Now, the term Moorish national is a made-up term. It does not apply. As they would say, it has no standing in law. Why? Why?
How come you never said this to Taj Face?
back to that again.
Back to that again. Let's rewind. How come he never talked in the face of Taj Tariq Bey the way that he's talking right now about Moorish national when he had a whole 45 minutes and he could have brought this up?
Could have told him just like that.
Just like that. They're going to play all that brotherly BS with you. While at the same time waiting for you to turn your back. Just waiting for you. Just waiting. Just come on, turn around.
Then you're going to say you personally, you think he's a good guy. How? If you're saying the term Moorish national is a fraudulent term, then you're saying that he's selling his people back into slavery by saying that Moorish national term. But you said personally, you like the guy. You lying.
Yeah, straight lying. It's really just to cause confusion. Stay away from these people. We're warning you. You know what I mean? Spread the word. Do not give them the light of day. Keep them in darkness.
It has no standing in law because it's not acknowledged. Nobody. That would be just like an Italian being in this country. I can't believe you said that. National. Do you really know? Baseball can teach you that, Cujo.
We just said that too.
Now, the term Moorish national is a made-up term. It does not apply. As they would say, it has no standing in law. Why? Why? It has no standing in law because it's not acknowledged.
Okay.
Nobody.
See that? We already demolished that. How can the acknowledgee, if that's a word, get acknowledged?
Right.
I'm the one that's going around acknowledging people. Acknowledging nations. I think, quote unquote, I'm the one that's acknowledging them. But now, I'm fictitious because I'm not recognized. What? How?
Yeah.
I'm it.
Yeah.
The horse stops here. It stops right. It's me. Stops right here. We're the ones. And if it's anything else, ipso juris more subject.
If anything else, ipso jure. off the top. I'm gonna let this play. Hold on.
That would be just like an Italian being in this country calling himself an Italian national. Do you really know? Do anybody know what an Italian national is? That is one who is under the jurisdiction of the Italian government and its territory. That's just like if somebody would call themselves a Nigerian national. That would be a person who's under the jurisdiction of a Nigerian government and the territory of Nigeria. So to be a Moorish national, you will have to be under a Moorish government and under a territory of land or body politic that is acknowledged, as the Prophet Noble Ali say, by nations of the world or families of nations, in order for you to be a Moorish national. It's a misnomer. It doesn't make sense. The term Moorish national doesn't make sense. It's a fictitious term. Again, let me break down again. Like you take Cujo. He's a Canadian national. Why? He's running. He wants to be a Moorish American. But let's examine this for a minute.
Right again.
Cujo wants to be a Moorish American, right? And what is his rationale?
Now let's just check. Draw all these rationale. Now, what's your nationality? Moorish American. Why are you Moorish American? Because you're descendants of Moroccans born in America. Okay, descendants of Moroccans born in America. There's 3 of those. And Canada's in one of those Americas. On top of that, Atlantis Islands is in that jurisdiction of the Americas. As a Moor, we know nationality is through the mother. But my mom isn't from Canada. So for him to lie to you and tell you that I'm Moorish Canadian is fraud. Because my mother's not Canadian. So there's no way that I'm Moorish Canadian. But this is how they do. They create their little lies so they can get their little views so that they can be eventually popular. And we're letting you know that these are the people, the same people who killed your prophet, while you have nothing right now. Just look around you and see how much things you have that's Moorish. And then look around at all the other nations. Since you want to say nation and you want to play this nation BS. And look around at all the other nations and ask yourself, what do they do to their sellouts? Maybe that's why other nations are prosperous, because they deal with their sellouts. They don't have the parading around opportunity because they sold out. So you don't get any honors. You're like the pedo that goes to prison. You just better go hide somewhere. Because you violated for too long. And the people are getting the return of it now. Why? Because they're taking it into their own hands. They're learning that the priesthood is dead. And they don't need any of these YouTube whatever BS. They'll find out about their nationality and birthrights by going out there and studying for themselves. Learning for themselves. Getting this information into them and their children so that everybody can have a prosperous life that's around them. And this is not about joining up to something, or because you have a card, that means now you can call anytime, 5 in the morning, you're calling people about something crazy. No, that's not what that means. This is not a club. Handle your goddamn affairs. Whatever it is that they are. However they Whether they're all positive, whether they're all negative, handle their affairs.
Islam, Green Sheet.
Islam more.
Can I add on to that Canada stuff?
Oh yeah.
Just real quick. In a book I got, in a law book called Jurisprudence, Text and Readings on the Philosophy of Law, 3rd edition, American Casebook Series. And it says, right here in chapter 1, Law's existence. Consider the United States. It exists, and yet it does not. First sentence, a mass of land exists that is part bounded by natural features, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific. But when the United States appears on a map with lines drawn to separate the U.S. from Mexico or Canada, those lines are political creations, not descriptions of real characteristics of the land itself.
Mm.
Now that's not no more Todd's to that's their stuff.
Right.
That's their stuff.
Yeah.
George C. Christie, Patrick H. Martin, American Casebook Series, Jurisprudence, Text and Readers on the Philosophy of Law, 3rd edition. Tells you right in chapter 1.
Yep. Right in chapter 1.
All of that stuff. Political creations, not descriptions of real characteristics of the land itself. That's a law book too.
Hmm.
So I don't know what I gave you the book, the reference, who wrote it, what chapter. So it's page 1. It's the first page. It's page 1. First sentence. Now, what he just said, where he get that from?
Where do you get anything from that he said, other than the stuff that was written by Noble Drew Ali?
That Canada, Cujo's, Moorish, what do you say?
Moorish Canadian.
How?
How is it Moorish Canadian? If Canada, it should be Canadian American. If Canada is the country, according to you, if China is the country and they come here, they're Chinese American. So if you're saying I was born here, makes me a citizen, what am I a citizen of? Because Canada just came about in 1967 or 1867. So if Canada just came out in 1867 and Noble Drew Ali telling us that we're here 50,000 years, the flag. Now, if you've been here for so long, and Canada came about in 1867, and Noble Drew Ali said, return to our ancient foremothers and forefathers, and 1867 isn't ancient, how am I Moorish Canadian? And on top of that, if descendancy is to the mother, and my mom's from the Americas, how am I Canadian? Unless they're trying to denationalize me. The same thing like what the coroner does.
Which is slander, William Dungy case.
So be careful, Moors, because your own wearing turbans and fezzes, your own wearing turbans and fezzes are going to put you back in slavery. Your own. Your own. Always remember. Peace and love to all the Moors. We got the date set for Drew Ali Day, January 5th, 2019. Canaanland Moorish Drew Ali Day. So for info on that, canaanlandguide@gmail.com. There's a couple Moors from out of Canaanland that are getting here. You could probably contact them and see how their arrangements are working. You got time still if you wanted to be in Canaanland for the 10th or 11th year. Going in. So Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all the Moors. Brother Yusuf, you got some shout outs?
Islam. Give thanks to the Moors in the chat.
Islam to the chat Moors. Y'all were killing them last night too.
Oh yeah.
The chat Moors had a week last night.
Yeah.
Had a week.
They give thanks for the prophet too.
Especially honors to the prophet. We know.
Because he told me it was going to be you dirty Moors that was going to sell me out. He told me. He didn't say maybe. He said it. Be careful. Because some of your own wearing turbans and fuzzies sell you out. He didn't say maybe. He told you it was going to happen.
Told you. Just like a prophet does. And what happened? It happened. So now that happened, let's get on the good foot. Because he gave us everything that it takes to save a nation and told us to take it and save ourselves with it. Because when we save ourselves with it, that's when we save the nation. He brought you everything that it takes to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. Because by saving yourself, you save the nation.
You didn't say take it and go to the temple?
No, I don't think so.
Oh. I don't think so. Even though there's nothing wrong with the temple.
No, not at all.
It's just the people in there so-called running it.
Yeah.
And if it's not, if it's so-called being ran, that means it's fraud. That means you're in there playing house.
Yep, you're playing some type of games. Some type of games. But peace and love to all the Moors out there. Make sure you share and like and spread the word about this nationality and birthrights. Don't forget, 9:30, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open. It is that day again. Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 p.m., MHHS Eyes Wide Open. blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. Call-in number 425-569-5201. Don't talk BS. Call in, press 1, and ask your question so you can get some answers. 347-945-5899. Again, 425-569-5201. 347-945-5899. Peace and love, more.
Islam.
Islam.